It's time for another Broken Plane podcast, coming to you from the Pod Shed in Tigard, Oregon, with your hosts TK and JB.
Welcome to the Broken Plane Podcast, Season 2, Episode 14. I'm JB.
And it's me, TK. I'm back.
You're back. Thank goodness you're back.
Finally, it's been so long.
Did you last 2 weeks ago, my solo episode?
I listened to it and I smiled the entire time.
Hurt.
It cured my fever.
It was so hard. I cursed you the whole time.
Yeah?
Where's TK? Where's TK?
In bed.
I was rambling. Did you hear what the topics were?
Yeah.
That's what Tour de France and soccer.
I laughed.
That's what you get.
I said, this is what happens when I don't edit all that out.
It was fun, but it's good to have you back. It's good to be back in the pod shed.
Yeah.
Not in my living room.
Ah.
Which is not a great place to record
Littered
audio.
with family members.
Yeah, well, I kept trying to remember. Nobody was home.
Oh, that's good.
Even the dog was silent for like the I don't know, whatever it was. Yeah, it was kind of strange.
Impressive.
Yeah, it's not always like that at home. So
Yeah.
that was good. So here we are back again. Should we just jump right into Twitter Fan of the Week?
Yeah, let's do Twitter Fan of the Week. We haven't done one for a while. This week, a new follower, a new fan, a new member of the Great Big Broken Plane Fantasy Football League, Austin Regier.
Woo!
Yes. Or it could be Regier. I don't know. Austin Regier?
Regier?
I don't know.
Regier.
He could be a Frenchman. But
Austin.
He's from Kansas.
A Frenchman from Kansas.
Who lives in New Mexico.
Wow.
And loves him some Rams. All of our followers are Rams fans.
Another Rams fan.
Superfan Jonah, our superfan.
They're just coming out of the woodwork.
He's brought them all to us.
Gee whiz.
But we love him for it, because we'll take anybody.
It's going to be a long year for me, I think.
And I love the Rams anyway, so I'm happy with it.
How do you love the Rams? Well, your team's bad, so that makes sense. The Ravens are going to be... Well, even the Ravens are looking up.
Yeah, they could be.
It's nice, though. It's nice for you, because at least it's not... It's
they don't
an
really
NFC
compete.
team on the other side of the country.
On either side.
And that seems fine.
Yeah.
In division, it sucks, especially now that I'm not going to be able to gloat and stuff and walk around. Ooh, the Seahawks are awesome. No,
yeah.
Can't really do that this year because I don't think they're going to be awesome this year.
The scales have tipped.
Yeah.
Now you get to see what it's like.
But the thing is, I'm a Seahawks fan from way back.
Yeah.
I know what it's like.
That's
I don't
true.
need help with this part.
But now you get to re-see what it's
Son
like
of
in
a
the
gun.
modern era of football.
In the modern era of football, as opposed to 2010.
Right.
Right. Okay. Good. Good.
Anyway, Austin, thanks for being our new fan. Thanks for hopefully listening. And you better listen because you need to find out what's going on in the fantasy league that you've joined.
So, Austin, congratulations.
Yeah.
All right. So, like TK was talking about, we have the Great Big Broken Plane Fantasy Football League,
And it's finally picking up steam.
we're getting some players now,
8 teams are in.
some participants.
We're looking for 12. So if you're interested, if you're listening and you like fantasy football and you like not paying to enter a fantasy football league, this is the one for you. We're going to be giving away something. We thought we had a great idea.
Well, no, we had a great idea.
We have a great idea, except for the fact where we need boatloads of money.
Yeah. If it was less expensive to have great ideas, I think we'd be better off.
I'm just going to say we were going to put some patches on some beanies and give them out to everybody. But it turns out patches are expensive, especially when you're going small runs, small batches.
Well, the price per unit goes down, but
right. But that doesn't help me because I don't need 500.
Yeah, if you don't need 500,
I'm still paying $1,000.
We'll see what we can do. There's still things that we can do. We still have a fund.
Yeah.
That we can draw from, and we're still going to do something.
There will be prizes. So join the Great Big Broken Plane Fantasy Football League. Let us know on Twitter. Email us, thebrokenplanepod@gmail.com. Our Twitter handle is @thebrokenplane. Just let us know.
And Facebook. You can hit us up on Facebook.
Yeah, there you go. It's still there. We haven't deleted it yet.
The Broken Plane NFL Podcast.
Or leave a comment on our SoundCloud. Or
iTunes.
Or on our iTunes.
Google Play Music.
You can enter anywhere.
And YouTube. If you leave us a comment anywhere on the blog, anywhere, if you write a letter, anywhere, we will find you and we will get you hooked up.
Yeah, that's it. 4 spots left.
4 spots left.
Come on, get them.
All right. So, before we jump into KWIK-E-Newz, before we get ahead of ourselves,
Right.
I just wanted to congratulate you and me. This podcast has been up for a year.
That's right.
We ran over our 1 year anniversary. I was
2 days ago, right?
Yeah, the 17th of July. I was doing some other stuff, and I was like, I wonder our first episode, because we've been talking about we've got some newer equipment now, and we sound different. Hopefully better. I think better. We can say that. I went back to go look at the first episode that we did and saw the date, and it was July 17th. It's like, wow, that is a year ago today. Yeah, and then I freaked out.
And then I listened to it.
It was, here's the thing. It could be worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as I thought I remembered it being, which was nice.
No, we did. It was good. It was good for a first effort. I mean, you never done it before.
Yeah.
Like they say in Goon, you got to be bleeped to get better. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
We're gonna bleep ourselves. Self-bleeping now is what we're doing. We have a bleeper, don't you? You should just bleep that out.
I mean, I can do one. I don't have it.
No, but you can do one.
I'm not that good at it. I can do that.
Perfect.
You ready? Let's try it. Goon quote.
Goon quote. You got to be shitty to get better. Oh no!
Way too slow. You caught me off guard.
But yeah, it sounded good though. So that was July 17th. We're recording this on the 19th.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll drop on the 20th. The Fantasy Football League, we're scheduled to draft on
September 1st,
September
Saturday.
1st, which is a Saturday.
3 p.m. Pacific time.
Nice. Okay.
Right in the middle of the day. Hopefully everybody's available. You still got plenty of time to plan for that.
We have a participant in Australia.
That's right.
How is that going to work?
I forget what I think that's why I changed it to 3.
Okay.
Because I believe that's like 8, 9 a.m.
on
Sunday.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think we did that specifically for what's his name? Chicken Prawn.
Chicken Prawn.
Yeah, at
yes.
Chicken Prawn.
That's a great name. That's awesome.
Yeah. Alex Forbes. Alex, what's up?
What else? Is there anything else that we want to touch on before
Did you want to tell them what our schedule, what our format plan for the next couple of month and a half is?
Yeah, we've got. Well, we're training camp start next week, right?
Some of them are already started. Baltimore opened today.
Oh, really?
Lamar hit a sweet pass to Jordan Lasley.
Nice.
40 yards.
Nice. Were you dancing? Are you already?
Neither of them is going to play.
Are you already going to get the jersey and start rocking the Jackson jersey?
Yeah, I'm prepared.
That's gonna be sweet. That's gonna be so cool.
Yeah.
We are. This is gonna be kind of an overview show. We want to talk about. We have a couple of topics we want to get into, but coming up, we're going to have our divisional breakdowns, like we did last year, and then hopefully the Friday before the draft, we're going to drop our fantasy football episode.
Right.
And then that will lead us right into the regular season. And I think we've been talking back and forth. We're talking about dropping episodes on Friday. So
last year it was Wednesday.
Last year was Wednesday because we wanted to get it out ahead of the Thursday night game. This year, I think we're going to not worry about that so much.
We'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah, so we'll have one game to talk about in retrospect, and then we'll have the whole weekend to look forward to. And it just works out better schedule-wise.
Right.
And we're not trying to hammer all this stuff home. I don't know. We'll see how it works. Maybe it'll be great. Those are our thoughts. As always, subject to change.
Anything you want to hear, let us know.
Yeah, anything.
We're happy to talk about your topics, your favorite topics, NFL-based.
So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
There we go.
So, KWIK-E-Newz this week.
Yeah.
Just so that I can pick on the Cardinals, because I've been picking on the Cardinals a little bit this offseason.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to, Seahawks fan.
Hiring Steve Wilkes was strange. Steve Wilkes came out and lied to all of us about what he intends to do defensively. That was fun. And now, former NFL Executive of the Year, Steve Keim, arrested July 4th for DUI.
Whoops.
And, hey, we all make mistakes from time to time. I'm not saying that all of us go drive hammered, but we all make mistakes from time to time. The legal limit in Arizona is 0.08.
Right.
Blood alcohol content, 0.08. Steve blew 0.19.
That's impressive.
That's more than 0.08. Yeah.
By a lot.
More than 2 times. Yeah. And if you've seen Steve, he's a big dude. He's not small.
No.
He put down more than one or two cocktails.
He looks like he was a lineman in his day.
He was.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
I figured. I didn't look it up.
The point is, he had more than 1 or 2 drinks, I think. to get to that level.
If his drink is a bottle of vodka, then he had 1 or 2 drinks.
Maybe just one. Yeah, at that point, maybe. But he was convicted. He's already spending time in jail. Also, though, fined $200,000 and suspended.
The money donated to Mothers Against Drunk Driving Arizona chapter, I believe.
Yep, that sounds right.
Right?
That sounds right.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving, anyway. I don't
Which
know
is
if they have a local.
And a great cause, and that's where it should go. But yeah, suspended for 5 weeks. Heading into training camp, just what you need is your GM to not be there.
Right. That wouldn't have bothered me pre-Hard Knocks, but now that I know what the GM does, kind of a big deal. He's in there with the head coaches, with the head coach and probably the coordinators making decisions on which guys get cut and don't get cut.
And potentially even more important, when there's an injury in training camp, every year there's somebody that gets dinged. That's when he needs to go out and find somebody to replace that guy.
Exactly.
And Steve has done a great job with that in the past. They're not going to be able to do that this year. Also, David Johnson.
Not for a while. They will be able to. He'll come back.
He comes back with, I think, 2 weeks.
At the beginning of the 3rd preseason week.
Yeah. So he'll be around for a little bit, but David Johnson was looking to get his contract renegotiated. That's not happening now.
Probably not.
Of course, I don't know why you'd renegotiate David Johnson anyway. Isn't he in his 3rd year? I don't know that you'd want to.
And coming off an injury, I'd let him prove it.
I would too, but the point is, now there's no option.
Yeah.
I was listening to Mike Floria.
Yeah.
From
Pro Football Talk?
Yeah. NBC, I think NBC, but yeah, Pro Football Talk. And he was saying, no big deal at all. And the reason is...
Interesting.
And the reason is, well, he's had time to get together with his staff, and they've made plans, and they made arrangements for things, and I'm sure it's going to be fine now. What do you think?
I would think so. But then when you find out that he's not allowed to have any contact with the team and he's not allowed to go to the facilities, so he can't get any information about what's going on at training camp. He has to wait to get, I assume they videotape everything anyway and they take notes, but he's not going to be able to look at any of that info, I assume, until after the 2nd preseason game.
Yeah.
As his first viewing will be the 2 preseason games from home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he'll probably be able to get all 22 footage after he comes back.
Well, he can get all 22 footage using the NFL app, right?
If he gets Game Pass.
This guy just dropped $200,000.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he can.
He's got the
flip
$100 for that.
The $100. Yeah.
But still, that puts him a little. I mean, he's gonna have to. They're gonna have to really powwow a lot in those final 2 weeks because then the final cut downs are due September 1st, which is like 10 days after he comes back.
Yeah, they pushed that date back. Last year?
Right, because they had multiple tiers where you had to get down to 75 or something, and then to 53.
But I think starting last year, they just had one.
Right, it's just the final day.
Yeah.
And you can cut guys whenever you want, but you have to be down to 53 by September 1st.
Okay. I'm not sure I buy it. I think this is going to be more impactful than you think it is. I also think that with a brand new head coach, this is a more serious thing. This is a more serious thing than I think a lot of people are thinking. This is the kind of thing that can wrong foot you for the rest of the year.
They might not be on the same page fully about what they want to do with their team vision, especially since this came out of nowhere. It's not like they knew that he was going to be gone and, hey, we need to get ready to do this, and this is what we're looking for. And
it's not. I'm giving head coach Steve Wilkes kind of a hard time. It's not his fault. He hasn't been a head coach before.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure he's been around the NFL. I'm sure he's been around football. I'm sure he's been around training camps, and he understands that. But the first time as a head coach. So there's going to be things he thinks he knows that he finds out is different.
Yeah, a lot of the offensive side of the ball because he's a defensive guy.
He's a old fuddy-duddy defensive guy. Yeah. I think this could really hose the Cardinals all year. And you know what? Their quarterback situation is kind of a mess right now. It's not a mess. It's interesting.
It's hard to pin down what's going to happen.
But there's a lot of things about this team that I think they're going to be in trouble.
I think it could, like you said, it could hurt them for the year because not so much the starters, but every team goes through injuries throughout the course of the season, and they're going to need to make the right depth choices when they cut down their roster. And if they make the wrong decision because Keim isn't there to help inform Wilkes and the other the other coaching staff guys, maybe this guy's a little bit better. Maybe you need to rethink what you're thinking.
Right. Yes.
And they decide to cut the wrong guys.
Yeah.
But having 2 weeks when he comes back, maybe he can fix everything.
Time to cram.
It might.
Right?
Yeah. It'll just be a hectic couple of weeks for them.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is good luck to the Cardinals.
Yeah, it should be fun.
I hope things work out for the very best. Moving on. Our next topic, Johnny Manziel, just because why not? I just wanted to let everybody know he's still alive in the Great White North, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, backing up Jeremiah Masoli. He has seen no game time.
That name sounds familiar.
Jeremiah Masoli, go Ducks.
Oh,
Yeah.
ex-quarterback.
Ex-quarterback.
That's right.
He was the one who was their quarterback, and then he stole a computer, and then he was expelled.
Oh.
Kicked off the team.
Was
He
that...
stole a laptop from a party.
Do you remember the order? Was he after Harrington?
Yes, much farther.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was he like
He was-
Mariota's time or somewhere
Prior,
in between that?
before Mariota? I'm trying to remember because I think he might have been there when Chip Kelly was the coordinator.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's kind
That
of
was
where he
Bellotti
fit in.
was still there
I
as
think
head coach.
I'm having some trouble remembering, but yeah, I believe so. He was fantastic. He was a great dual threat
Right.
quarterback and solid. I mean, and he's doing. Last year he threw for like 3,000 yards. This year he's on track. They played 4 games. He's averaging 300 and I've got it written down 344 yards per
Wow.
game. He's completing passes at a 65% clip.
They don't need Manziel.
No. It's like I almost feel bad for him because this could be a great situation for Manziel, but there's somebody in front of him playing really well. So
It's the Tiger Cats?
That's
the name?
The Hamilton Tiger
Okay,
Cats.
did they had Masoli prior to signing
Yeah.
Manziel, but they gave Manziel a start. Was that a preseason game when you talked about that, or did they give him a shot?
It was a preseason game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they were giving him a shot to see if he would overtake Masoli, and it sounds like he has not.
They were looking. June Jones is the head coach of that team.
Uh-huh.
You probably remember, or at least know the name June Jones.
Yeah.
He's been a coach at the college level in the NFL, a lot of different places. He's the coach of the team, and he said in the preseason, he said when Manziel was signed, we have a starting quarterback.
Oh, okay.
We don't intend on starting Johnny Manziel. We're going to bring him in because we think he can help the team.
Okay.
But we don't intend on starting him. And Manziel spoke to that when he was signed. He said, I know I'm not a starter. I'm going to go in and I'm going to do the best I can. And I think it's still a great choice for Manziel. June Jones is a great coach to be under for him,
Right.
even if he's not playing. Because June Jones knows more football than Johnny Football has ever seen. Say what you want to about June Jones as a coach, and I can say a lot. He understands the passing game. So I think it's a good fit.
Okay. And like you said earlier in previous episode, Manziel's got plenty of time on his clock left.
Yeah.
He can spend a couple years in Canada, learn some stuff, and still have a shot at getting into the league again.
He can.
The NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even I don't want to push him off this far, but it wouldn't even surprise me if he turned 30 and then
That's
came
what I was
back.
thinking. Little Mark Bulger action.
Sure, and I think he could be pretty successful doing that. He'd have a whole by that time. Hopefully, he has a lot of experience and would just fit right in.
Yeah.
The old wily veteran Johnny Manziel. Okay, last bit of quickie news that we wanted to touch on.
Your favorite.
The new helmet rule.
Yeah.
So the new helmet rule essentially is that you can no longer use your helmet to initiate contact.
Right. Like this is the classic you're thinking of, like a running back who's broken through the second level and he's got a safety bearing down on him, and so they both essentially lower their helmets and run into each other.
Yeah, they don't call it lowering the helmet.
Yeah.
They call it lowering the shoulder.
Yeah, it's the shoulder, but they both use their helmets.
Yeah, and you initiate contact then with the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes the helmet, to use a hockey phrase, is the initial point of contact. The focus of contact is the helmet or the head. That's illegal
That
this
will
year.
be flagged.
Yes.
For sure.
Well, here's the thing.
Who it gets flagged on?
Who it gets flagged on because so you kind of understand it in that situation. So there's a running back in the secondary, and a tackler's coming up, and you kind of understand that. That makes sense.
Yeah, you
So
got to get low.
Don't lower your head. Don't use your head as a battering ram. Okay, that's fine. On the defensive and offensive line, there was a little bit of confusion
Right.
about what would be allowed and what wouldn't. And they tried to clarify it, And I wrote down the rule here as it's stated in the NFL rulebook. And it says using any part of a player's helmet or face mask to butt, spear, or ram an opponent. Note, this provision does not prohibit incidental contact by the mask or the helmet in the course of a conventional tackle or block on an opponent.
Makes sense. Or a block. Key point there.
So what they're saying is the helmet can touch incidentally another player.
Right.
But not on purpose?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I'm a defensive end and I'm lined up wide and I'm racing the tackle to the corner and I'm not going to get around the edge, so I decide to bull rush him.
Mm-hmm.
And I put both of my hands into his arms and my helmet comes into his chest.
Yeah.
Is that a flag?
It's going to have to be a judgment call, JB.
A judgment call by the official.
Yeah.
Aha.
The good thing about this, there's a good number of refs on the field, but they're gonna have to see it first. This just adds more for them to maybe see.
Talk to us about Dan Quinn, because this is a great story,
Dan Quinn, head coach of the Atlanta Falcons,
Mm-hmm.
He was in charge of putting together the videos, the informational videos for all the teams so that they could see what the league is envisioning is and isn't a foul under this new provision.
So this is what the players all look at in training camp.
Right.
Oh, this is the new rule.
Yeah.
So now I understand the new rule very clearly because I've seen video.
Well, it turns out when Quinn was questioned about this, he basically said, I think this is what is going to be happening.
Wait a minute. The guy who made the video
wasn't entirely sure.
Ah.
He had what he assumed was going to be the proper and improper ways to initiate contact with a helmet.
Is like 60-40? What is this? 70-30? Mostly okay, mostly sure?
Yeah, it's a confusing thing.
Funny thing about that too is that Dan Quinn's boss, Rich McKay?
Yeah, the president of the Falcons, I believe.
Yeah.
So they work next to each other.
He couldn't get clarification from the guy who runs the rule committee.
Exactly.
What's happening? I'm not a huge fan of rules that require judgment calls.
Yeah.
So I'm not thrilled about this. I think basketball is a prime example. I think there's a lot of judgment being used in basketball on how much contact is a foul.
I know exactly what you're thinking. Don't get into it. It's for another time.
The other thing about this, before we let it go, have you also been hearing about all of the NFL referees who are leaving this year?
No, I haven't heard anything about that.
There's 6. I think there's 6 referees who are retired.
Oh, retiring. Okay. I heard about one. Isn't Hockey Lee?
Hockey Lee's going.
Okay.
I had a list and I don't have it anymore.
But yes, I did hear about one notable one.
You can Google it.
Yeah.
The point is, though, that there's going to be, I think maybe it's only 4, but there's going to be 4 new head officials in the NFL this year.
But they'll presumably be people that were assistant referees.
Sure. I'm sure,
they've still been doing it.
Oh, yeah.
They're just going to be the ones that fumble with the microphone when they're announcing the penalties, and it'll be fun.
Probably. Or 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, your team's down by 2. Oh, there's a flag. What for? Well, he lowered his helmet a little bit too much.
Who? The guard?
Maybe.
Oh, no.
You don't know. It could be anything.
Yeah. I have a good feeling that the interior linemen and the linemen, the clashes in the trenches aren't going to be called very often because they're going to want to flag it when it's obvious. I've never even seen 2 linemen hit their heads together, and I've been watching football for quite a while. I hear about it happening.
It happens on every play.
Yeah, because you hear about these guys getting concussions, and you say, well, how do these 2 guys that are just pushing each other get a concussion? But I never have noticed it before, so this was the first that it occurred to me as a casual fan watching football on TV that these guys smash their heads together.
Well, at one point, the rule...
And it's not just incidental.
I could have sworn at one point the rule was more geared towards the top of the helmet.
Right. The crown.
But now they've said face mask.
Turning yourself into a torpedo.
Helmet or face mask.
Yeah.
And the face mask, a tackle and a guard and a center they'll touch face mask on almost every single play.
Right. So
I mean,
my thinking is it's going to come down to, do you see a guy forcibly jut his head forward into another guy? Or or are there no hands being used at all, and a guy's got his hands behind his back, and it's like the Zinedine Zidane World Cup headbutt, basically. Those are the situations I'm envisioning for linemen.
Right.
I feel like it's not going to be called that often. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I have faith, JB.
So more like a pass interference call.
Yeah.
More like,
I think it's going to happen more in the open field running backs. And I'm hoping what it leads to is more hurdling and more spin moves.
Oh, jeez.
Because the hurdles have been quite amazing the last few years.
They have
Gurley
been.
and mostly Gurley because he's amazing.
There are some really athletic guys out there. My whole thing with the hurdling is that someone's going to get caught up in the air. You see that occasionally.
Exactly. The more hurdles that happen, the more times the defender is going to get wise to it and just stand up.
Well, I can't remember who it was. There was a play where somebody tried to. I think it was a Seahawks game where a receiver or maybe a running back tried to hurdle and was caught in the air.
They just grabbed his legs
in a power bomb position. Basically, the guy jumped up in the air and the defender caught him with his legs. His legs
wrapped around his face
around his head. Yeah, and then stopped and held him and then power bombed him. If you've never seen a power bomb, please just go check out a wrestling video. It's fantastic. It's a professional wrestling move.
No flag.
I don't think there was a flag.
Probably not.
It should have been probably unnecessary roughness because that seemed excessive. But oh my goodness gracious, that's what you're gonna see.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I'm a little nervous.
Nah, it'll be fine.
Okay. Okay, if you say so. If you say it'll be fine, I'll take your word for it.
There will be some bad calls, but by and large, it will be fine.
I am concerned.
Yeah.
I am a little concerned. Okay. That's KWIK-E-Newz. Did you have anything else that you wanted to touch on before we...
That's it. That was good.
Jump into our topics.
Felt good.
Felt okay?
Yeah.
Felt okay? We have a couple of different topics. Did you want to hit up on the Impact rookies first, or did you want to go to
first?
You want to do Rosen's first? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Josh Rosen,
Arizona Cardinals quarterback.
Arizona Cardinals backup quarterback.
Yeah.
First round quarterback has released along with two other people has released a paper, and the paper is about how to pay student athletes, a way that you could potentially pay student athletes that would be fair and equitable, and also maintain their status, the athlete status, as an amateur.
Right. It would work for the NCAA basically.
It could work potentially.
It's a way that the NCAA might accept it,
and it's a pretty interesting plan. If you want to check it out yourself, it's at Fairplay for NCAA.com. The people that wrote it, Ty Gonzer is a lawyer, Brian Bitzer is a law student at USC, and Josh Rosen, and they all had kind of a hand in writing the paper. We read it this week, and you know what? It sounds pretty good.
There are a lot of good parts to it.
Yeah,
I think it still probably needs a little tweaking, but we'll get into that.
I think for sure, and a lot of this stuff I'm sure is negotiable.
Yeah.
But this definitely gives you kind of a framework that you could use. It provides a path for student athletes to make some money off licensing their likeness and to share in revenue from things like video games as a group.
Yeah, there you go. That sounds good. That sounds great.
Sorry.
Sign me up.
What would happen is you would create a new organization, a clearinghouse is what they call it.
A third party.
A third party. You're putting all of your negotiating power into a blind trust. And what you do when you come in as a student athlete is you would sign up with this clearinghouse, and you would either opt in to have them go out and market you and sign deals for you on your behalf.
And be eligible for money.
And then be eligible for money or not. You have a choice. You can do it or not. You can just
play for the fun of it.
Sure. That's fine too. If you do choose to sign up with this clearinghouse, then the clearinghouse takes on the responsibility of negotiating with other parties who want to license your likeness.
They become your agent.
Essentially, they become your agent.
So they're an agent for every single player in the NCAA, any sport. Or is this just for football?
The way that it's written, I think it's obviously it's geared towards football right now. In some of the articles that I've been reading, they kind of coyly dance around Title IX. In as much as they want to. Title IX is the the law that says that you have to, if you offer a sport for men, you have to offer an equal sport for women.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to dance kind of coyly around Title IX. They want to use private money to set the clearinghouse and thereby not have to take federal funds. If you don't take federal funds, then you don't have to worry about Title IX.
Go.
That's the rule. And they're kind of dancing around it. But I think it would work for everything. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't do this for sports across the board. As far as that goes, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't do this for everybody. The chess team, why you wouldn't roll it out to the theater group, whoever.
I don't think...
Whatever. The point is, you could put this. You could put this anywhere.
Yeah.
Probably the chess team. They don't really have an amateur status thing.
I don't think they make you pay for tickets to see the chess matches.
Oh.
I think they let you in. They might actually give you money to watch it.
Anyway,
what else do we got? So there's an agency that is an agent for any student athlete.
Yeah, and then the way it works then is you don't see any of the money. You don't see any of the money until...
perfect. That's how you get paid.
Until after...
you do get paid.
You graduate.
Not on a schedule.
And also, your eligibility expires.
Whoa.
Which is kind of a weird combination of things that has to happen for you to get paid. So you don't get paid until your eligibility runs out. So one-and-dones would have a tough time with this. And also, you need to graduate. If you don't get your diploma, you don't get any of the money that is assigned to your account.
Okay, so they want to keep kids in school. That's good. What's the problem with that?
I don't know that there's a problem. It feels kind of weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, is there a downside to it?
The downside to it is that even now, African-American athletes graduate in 5 years at about a 60% clip.
Well, I thought it was 55.
55. Yeah,
55.
I think you're right. 55% clip.
And then all student athletes is like 63, and all undergrads is 75 or something.
Yeah. So graduating from college is not a surefire thing to begin with.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's great. I think their hearts are in the right place.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who go to college who probably shouldn't be there because they are very athletically gifted.
Right. They were brought there on a scholarship to play football. There's no way they would be accepted into this school if it weren't for their athletic ability.
And you can debate whether that's morally right or morally wrong. But the point is that that's what's happening.
I mean, that's fine, but but then when you start saying somebody can't get paid until they graduate, and if you're a guy that's not supposed to be going to Harvard or UCLA except to play football, and then you leave after 2 years, you might not be graduating. And I mean, maybe it doesn't matter so much because you're getting a ton of NFL money.
Well,
or you crash out of the the NCAA game, and then you're basically done going to college because they're not going to bring you back to just go to school there.
Well, if you suffer a career-ending injury,
that too,
then you're not on scholarship anymore. Even if you are on scholarship,
think of that.
You didn't belong. You didn't belong at that school.
Yeah.
You're not succeeding as a student, but you still can't get any of the money that you've banked because it's all tied up in you having to run out your eligibility clock and also graduate.
Right.
They do give you up to 8 years to get your degree, so there is a time length. You don't have to finish up in the same amount of time that your eligibility clock runs. So if you did go for 3 years and leave early to go to the NFL, say, you could go back and get your degree, and then they would still cash out your account at that point, as long as you did it within the 8 years. The 8 year start between the start of the signing when you opt in to the time to 8 years in the future. So whenever that is.
I'm curious to see too. I would like to see numbers on collegiate players, and we'll just talk about football because we're talking about football. Mm-hmm. But players that play on the team the first year, their freshman year, and then they just don't make the team.
Yeah.
And then do they stay in school, and do they finish school, or do they just go home and say, well, that was that. I guess I'm just going to do something else at home.
I don't know. It's a lot of kids. I imagine if you don't have a scholarship, then college costs.
Because what happens
are significant
to the money that these players have quote unquote earned if they don't meet these criteria to get paid out?
If you don't meet the criteria, then what happens is the money from your personal account gets pushed into a general scholarship fund. and that scholarship fund is used for many different things that are kind of poorly defined.
Okay.
They want to go. In the paper they talk about it a little bit. They want to use it for kind of pie in the sky. It's a scholarship fund so that people can go to school and
Is
it'll
it
be great.
athletic scholarships?
No.
It's
General scholarship.
Just giving it to anybody.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, like I said, I like the idea of this.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea that if you don't graduate, you don't get to keep what you've earned.
Right.
That doesn't sound great. Also, I'm not sure I'm fond. They have the paper spells out how they would split up the money.
The breakdown of who gets what.
Yeah, and there's two kinds of deals that they're working with.
Okay.
One of them is an individual deal. So if you're a star quarterback for USC or Josh Rosen at UCLA, you would be signed. You could be signed to an individual deal, and the individual deals would pay out 50% to you in your account. 25% goes to the clearinghouse as an overhead. 10% goes to the NCAA. 10% goes to a general player pool that gets divided up amongst all the student athletes.
That aren't you.
That aren't you. Well, I guess including you, right?
Yeah, right.
Why not?
I'm part of the player pool.
And 5% to general fund, which is that general scholarship fund that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And it's great. You're getting 50%, which is 50% more than you're getting now, right? So that's great. But the clearinghouse takes a quarter, and the NCAA, who have they done anything? They're still getting 10%.
They gave you a platform to play.
I guess, yeah. I mean, they got to wet their beak. Is that what's happening? Is the mob? It's the mafia version of football here.
Yeah, it's the rake.
This does allow, though, for things like a video game licensing contract,
right?
Because you could have one clearinghouse to negotiate with, and then you could get some kind of a licensing contract together, which would be great for EA Sports if they want to come back with NCAA football. I miss it. I used to really like that game a lot. There's the group license. So we have the individual deals we talked about. The group licensing, 50% of the money goes directly into the player pool. So it gets distributed out to everybody again. 25% again to the clearinghouse. The NCAA gets 15% of the group licensing fee, and 10% to the general scholarship fund. That's what they have. And again, all of these numbers I'm sure are negotiable.
Yeah.
But before you even get started, you're down 40% between the clearinghouse and NCAA.
Yep.
Before you even get any money at all goes to anybody who is not the clearinghouse and NCAA. Does that sound right?
It's a little high.
It seems a little bit high, right? It seems to me.
It seems like if this was their proposal, they should have started really low.
Well, and this could be one of those things where they're trying to get their foot in the door.
Yeah.
They're trying to just a little bit of something.
Maybe they're putting it out there so somebody who knows more about what they're doing can put out something better.
First taste is free. Maybe that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
The player pool is really interesting, though, and this is the part that I really like. The player pool is divided equally among all participants in the plan. Sorry, in the plan for your sport. So they do have it broken out by different sports.
Okay.
For example,
so the gymnasts don't get that really good football money.
Probably not.
No.
If 13,000 FBS football players participated in the plan and the player pool has $25 million in a year, then your capital account, which is the account that you get as an individual, would be allocated $1,923.07.
I'll take it.
So if you're a walk-on,
yeah.
if you just make the team, if you're a walk-on, but that's a pretty good deal, right?
Yeah.
If you're a walk-on, you're not getting anything now. You
just were going to school, and you're like, I'm going to go try out for the team.
You're paying money to go to school because you're walking on to the team. That would be really useful. Again, you can't access any of that money until after you've graduated.
But you can use it to pay off your loan. That can be the insurance or the interest payment.
That's something. It's a start.
Yeah,
it's better than a kick in the teeth, right? Yeah. They do have a scenario where you can get money out while you're still in school. They call it I've got it written down. The academic use exception. So if you're a former athlete that is no longer an athlete, but you haven't graduated yet, you can petition to use the funds to pay direct school expenses.
Oh, there you go.
To graduate.
Okay.
So, kinda. Yeah. I guess that's okay.
If there's, I guess I don't know how much. I'm not sure how much money I'm envisioning you'd be getting from this. I was envisioning some guys would be getting like $50 because they're just
Well,
Joe Schmo. But I guess if you go to a big enough school, or does it even matter
it
what
doesn't
school
matter.
you go to?
Doesn't matter
Everybody
what school
gets
you go
the
to.
same.
Everybody gets the same.
And then if you're a star and you've got one of those individual deals, then you might get something extra slapped on top. Okay.
Yeah, which again, let's talk about that for a second now. How would that change recruiting dynamics? Because would you have a better shot of getting an individual licensing deal if you were to attend a name brand school?
Probably.
So would you be more inclined then to go to a Notre Dame or a USC, even though you know you wouldn't start there because there's talent in front of you?
I mean, to a certain extent, I guess you have to have some sort of assurance or thought that you would actually become that guy that starts at quarterback. And it's only probably going to be 2 guys. You're not going to have like 6 of legit college quarterbacks all saying, we're all going to go to Notre Dame together and be quarterbacks.
Hopefully not. Hopefully that's not how it works. But I mean, if you have an opportunity to go to like a West Virginia and maybe be a starter in your second year, maybe you wouldn't do that because who gets licensed out of West Virginia? Nobody makes any money going there. Is that going to enter into what you're thinking about?
Yeah, maybe it starts happening if companies are able to sponsor and make money off of these guys, make jersey sales off of somebody that they wouldn't normally. Maybe it's going to happen.
Is that a bad thing? I think that's kind of a bad thing. I don't know.
It's kind of a sleazy thing.
It's maybe that's the word. Maybe that's the word. I was also looking at. We talked about the clearinghouse taking a quarter of these contracts. I was looking because basically the clearinghouse is operating as an agent. You know how much sports agents make according to Wikipedia?
Do they get like 10%?
Between 4 and 10% of the athlete's playing contract and 10 to 20% of the endorsement contract.
Oh.
Though in the case of the NFL, they can't receive more than 3% of the playing contract, and NBA agents can't receive more than 4% of the playing contract.
All right.
So the clearinghouse is taking 25%.
Yeah.
Not of the contract, I guess, but
interesting.
That seems like way more than an agent would charge you.
And the clearinghouse is supposed to be set up as a nonprofit organization too, right? So they're doing something with this money that apparently these people that work there are going to get paid very well so that they don't have any profit. I don't
quite understand what's happening with that.
That's another thing. Maybe this is Rosen's plan is to supplement his short NFL career with a nice lengthy career as a clearinghouse executive.
Burn Arizona. I don't know.
Even if he plays for a long time, it's still only like 10 years.
That's true.
He's still got another 30 years of workforce in him.
Could be even longer. Could be forever. So here's my first impressions that I came with. I like the idea of the players getting paid.
Yes.
So that's good.
Right.
I like the way this takes into account if you're a superstar or a walk-on.
Yeah.
So both players get paid, and I think not equally, which is right. I think if you are a superstar, you probably should get more.
Right. But most guys still at the same point, you don't want to start tiering out every single player.
Yeah.
That's going to get messy
and this seems like a good way to do that. This seems like an appropriate way to do
exactly.
that. I like the way that you have the opportunity to have individual agreements and make if you have more star power, you should make a little bit more. I like the way that works.
Right.
I don't like the way that the players won't take home more than 50% on any agreement. So any deal that you get, you won't take home more than 50%. That seems really low.
That seems low.
Yeah. And I don't like the way that the NCAA gets a percentage of each of these transactions.
Yeah.
That too seems sketchy. Although, like you said, it's their ball, right?
Yeah.
They've got the platform, so I guess they do bring something to the party, but nothing new, and they're getting a chunk of cash. This seems like just a good way to just siphon more money into the university for really no extra work that they're doing.
It'll be interesting to talk about this in 10 years.
If it happens, which it won't.
I'm sure it will.
The NCAA will screw this up somehow, and it won't ever happen.
Screw it up, not in their viewpoint. They'll fix it.
What do you think about this compared to I think another option that we've mentioned, we've talked a little bit about before, or maybe we haven't on the show. We've talked offline about just an entirely new college league run for profit.
One of my get-rich-quick schemes was that we should start a competitor to the NCAA, the USCCA, I think. I don't know, the United States Collegiate CSA, Sports Association.
I like it.
We have to lure colleges and universities in to compete in our new tournaments and seasons of sports athletics. Come to us, Arizona State. You can be the first, and you can compete against Delaware.
The only other.
And it will just be a championship right out the gate. But you get to keep all of your money. The only thing you have to do is pay your players, and you're allowed to pay your players, and your players are allowed to be sponsored if they get approached and choose to do so.
I'm not sure there's a problem with that. I don't think I have a problem with that.
I don't. That's my pie in the sky plan. Anyway.
All right, so that's Rosen's plan.
Yeah.
Good for Josh Rosen for bringing this up. It's something that he's talked about in the past, and good for him for now that he's a pro, for coming out and not sponsoring this, but being a part of it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have heard about it if he didn't mention it.
If it were those two other guys whose names I've already forgotten.
Theo and Libson? No, that's not right.
No.
That's really not right at all. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Ty and Bob, I don't know.
Ooh, Ty Gonzer and Brian
Ty and Brian.
Brian Bitzer.
Okay, there you go.
Ty Gonzer?
Nice work, guys.
Gonzer. Brian.
What's this next topic?
Bitzer. This next topic was suggested by a listener to the show.
And participant in the Great Big Broken Plate Fantasy Football League.
That's right, Sean S.
Yes.
He wanted to hear us talk about impact rookies.
Okay.
And the two of us went different ways with this. I am ashamed because I don't think that what I did was nearly as cool as what you did.
Oh.
So let me just get mine out of the way.
All right, let's do it.
Because what my impact rookies this year, Barkley for the Giants.
Saquon Barkley, running back.
I think he's going to have a fantastic year. I think he's going to be a good fit. It's going to be one of those Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley type impacts. He's going to be fantastic. The Giants, I think, are going to be in for a quick turnaround.
Is he your rookie of the year?
I think potentially.
Offensive? Yeah.
I think potentially. I think he is. My next rookie of the year was Josh Allen. I think at some point he's going to get into the game. He's going to get into that starting role this year, probably week 4 or 5, and I think he's going to have a lot of success right away.
Oh,
yeah, I'm going to call that right here. So Josh Allen, I've just given you the kiss of death. Congratulations. And my other impact rookie, and this is again Denzel Ward, cornerback for.
You went all top 10 picks.
I did, and I was looking at my list, going, dude, these are not reaches at all. This is come on, you're not even trying at this point.
There's still every year. There's still plenty of guys from the top 10 that you never have heard of when you look back on it. Yeah. So. At the same time, you've still picked guys that we may never hear from again after this year. That's true.
But I think Denzel Ward, I like the more I sit with that pick, the more happy I am about it for the Browns.
Right.
When they first took him, I didn't think that was a great idea at all. Mm-hmm. And I think if you go back and listen to our pre-draft podcast, I think I badmouthed Denzel Ward a little bit.
How dare you?
And the more I look at the pick, I think it was a great, not just a great need pick because they needed a cornerback, but I think it's a pretty good fit in that defense.
Okay.
So yeah, again, all top 10 picks. Were they all top? Yeah, all top 10 picks.
Right.
Yeah.
No, Allen fell out.
Oh, Allen was 11.
He?
I think he might have been. He fell out a little bit.
I can't remember. Or no, did they trade up? Did they trade up to get him at 7?
I will look.
I think that's what it was because I think the Bills had like the 12th or 13th pick, and they swapped with the Buccaneers, who then took Vita Vea.
Oh, you're right. They number 7. That's right.
Okay, and then Ward was 4 and Barkley was 2.
Speaking of impact rookies, Vita Vea is going to be a stud.
I like him.
He's going to be a stud too. Yeah.
It's too bad he's on Tampa Bay. More on that later. My impact rookies. I did go a different way than you, mostly because we had talked and I hadn't picked any yet, and you had some ideas, and so you told me who you were thinking, and I said, well, I don't want to pick 3 more guys from the top 10, basically. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper and take some shots, take some stabs in the dark a little bit.
And you've got some great ones here, too.
So we'll start. My first, these are in no particular order. Kerryon Johnson, running back out of Auburn, goes to the Detroit Lions in the 2nd round. I believe it was the 41st pick. He led the SEC in yards on the ground last year, 1,391 and 24 rushing touchdowns. I like that. He's got good size, in my opinion, 5'11", 205-ish.
That's a good size
around there.
for a modern-day running back.
Yeah, he's not too small, but he's not too big either. He's not LeGarrette Blount.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. So he's still got that elusive score to him. And I think he's got pretty good hands, which I think will come in handy in Detroit. particularly, because Stafford likes to throw the ball, Jim Bob Cooter likes to throw the ball, so he can stay on the field for all 3 downs.
Well, and you've got his stats down here. He in last year,
Yes.
he caught 24 passes for 194 yards.
Yeah, that's nothing to sneeze at
That's pretty good.
in a college game.
Yeah.
That's something I would take out of my pro running back.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, in his career, 3 seasons at Auburn, 55 catches, 478 yards, and no other touchdowns, just the 2 last year. But I think the reason he's going to break out is because Detroit doesn't really have a great lead running back and every down back. They have Amir Abdullah, who they drafted, I think, 3 years ago, or maybe this is... Yeah, somewhere around there. He's been around for a couple of years and just hasn't quite panned out, and he's already seemed to have slipped down the chart. Everybody's depth charts have got him below Carry-On, below Theo Riddick, who's more of a pass-catching back, not really a running back, on the ground anyway. And then they picked up LeGarrette Blount, who's getting old, and only once in his last 5 years or so has even broken 200 carries, and that was with New England in his gigantic 18 touchdown season. So I think he's not really a threat to run the ball a lot. I don't think Theo Riddick has a lot to run the ball a lot, and it seems like they're trying to phase Amir Abdullah out. He's not owed a lot of money. He's a free agent after this year. So I think they're going to give Carry-On every chance to become the every down back and just kind of spell him with Theo and use LeGarrette Blount in situations that warrant a goal line back or a short yardage push type of thing.
Yeah, and I think this could come down to just economics, because it's going to be cheaper to keep Carry-On Johnson than it will be to keep Abdullah.
Exactly. They may even cut Abdullah. I don't know.
If they're the same, then yeah, you would keep the one that would cost you.
If
keep them both, I think, like you said, I think you can keep them both this year, because I think Abdullah's still on his rookie contract.
He's under $1 million, I believe.
But yeah, why would you pay more? Yeah, it seems like this is a really good fit. And especially, like you said, you don't have to have that big bruising body, because you've got LeGarrette Blount, who still has, for short yardage, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's
good for 8 to 10 carries a game.
And he still runs mean for 2-3 yards. That guy is just...
I'll take him on my roster.
He's tough.
Yeah.
All right.
The other thing I liked about Carry-On is he has the ability to read the defense and stay on the field in passing situations, so he can pick up a blitz and effectively block a blitzing safety or a cornerback, whatever you have coming at you. So.
And if that translates to the NFL, you really need that to translate, not if. That shouldn't be an if. That needs. So if that works out, that's a great pick.
So I think he'll have a good impact and really boost the Detroit offense this year.
Nice.
Next up on my list, Harold Landry
from
Boston College.
Nice.
He's playing for Tennessee now. He's a defensive end, edge rusher type of guy.
Okay.
I learned a little bit about him when we started researching, when we did our pre-draft primer, and I kind of fell in love with him as much as I can fall in love with a college guy, just from reading a couple of paragraphs on him. Both Pro Football Focus and Football Outsiders really had this guy pegged as possibly the best pass rusher in the draft class, ahead of Bradley Chubb, but Chubb was getting there because he was he is a more polished player and can be on the field for every down, whereas Landry is looking at this point as more of a pass rusher and not a run defense guy, so he wouldn't be in on all downs. But Landry showed good in the run defense 2 years ago when he played his last full season in college. Last year, he was limited with ankle injuries and didn't quite put up the numbers that people were hoping he would after his huge 18-sack season in 2016 with Boston College. But going to Tennessee, where head coach Mike Vrabel is a linebacker, and he's been honing his coaching skills and developing some great linebackers in Jadeveon Clowney and Whitney Merciless in the previous few years.
Although I'm not sure you'd call Clowney a linebacker, but certainly an edge rusher.
Edge rusher, yeah. I think he's got what it takes to give Landry that boost and make him an effective player for the Titans in a smaller amount of snaps, which is what I think Landry will be doing to start out the season. But I think Vrabel will be able to bring him along and push him into a more expansive role as the season progresses. And if he can find that run defense magic that he had a couple years ago, he could become a player that's on the field a lot more.
You are really going out of your way to challenge my Bill Belichick coaching stick philosophy, because we got Patricia in Detroit and now Vrabel.
Well, did Vrabel coach with Belichick though, or did he just play for him?
Oh, I thought he coached for him for a time.
Maybe they did.
Not maybe.
You want to look it up?
I'll look that up.
I can't remember if he did or not. While you're looking that up, I also want to mention that on Tennessee's roster as players are Brian Arakpo and Derek Morgan, who are a couple of fairly good veteran edge rushers that he can learn from. And the Titans released a little training camp video of their defense practicing, and there's a lot of footage of Landry learning from all of these guys. And Vrabel is out there in pads actually practicing and absorbing the blocks from these guys. It's pretty fun to watch.
Nice. You are absolutely right. Vrabel did not coach. He coached at Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
And then came into the NFL with the Houston Texans. So you are absolutely right.
So he retired as a player, went and coached in college for a little while. Then the Texans picked him up, and he coached there for 4 years, 5 years, whatever it was.
2014. So 2014 until 2017?
Okay.
No, 2018, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
4 years.
So that's Harold Landry. He's my next impact rookie. I think he's going to do a lot to transform the pass rush for the Titans defense this year.
And the Titans defense was pretty good last year.
It was looking pretty scary in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And at certain points in the season.
So good luck, AFC South.
They also picked up Rashaan Evans in the first round of last year's draft, another linebacker who's more of a coverage guy. So if he works out too.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Those two kids will set. Yeah, that could be a fun team to watch.
My last one, I don't know quite as much about these guys, but I liked what Green Bay did, so I went ahead and said that they will be the impact players.
You're cheating a little bit here because this isn't one.
I went with a package deal
pick.
here.
This is a twofer.
Yeah. I think together these guys are going to change things in Green Bay for the better. First-round pick Jair Alexander and second-round pick, who should have been a first-round pick in a lot of players, in a lot of fans' eyes, Josh Jackson. Both cornerbacks, Jair out of Louisville and Josh Jackson out of Iowa.
And again, this is a need position for Green Bay.
Right. They had a pretty terrible secondary. I think they lost Morgan Burnett, who was a safety, but still a secondary piece and one of the better safeties in the league, to Pittsburgh. So that downgrades them a little bit. They've got Kevin King, who they drafted last year in the safety position now. So it's going to be King, Alexander, and Jackson, a very young secondary. But these guys are both highly rated coming out of college, and people, if they perform anywhere near where they expect them to, first and second round talents or first and first round talents, they'll significantly improve Green Bay's defense, pass defense. I think Green Bay's front seven is fairly strong. We might talk about that a little bit more when we get into the breakdown for the NFC North, but I think they will help if they can be remotely effective. I don't think they have to be all pro rookies or whatever you want to call them, all stars. They just need to be effective and not terrible Oakland Raider level secondary guys. And I think they'll push Green Bay's defense, and with Aaron Rodgers coming back, the scoring woes probably won't continue, and they should be able to outscore and keep a lot of teams at bay.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Josh Jackson last year at Iowa, 8 interceptions for the season.
Led the country.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And they got him in the second round.
Yeah.
Wow. Ball hawk.
I'm not sure why he fell. I didn't do a lot of research on how that happened. It just happened. There was a lot of secondary talent available this year.
I will tell you this, if he because you've written down here, you got eight picks and also had 26 pass breakups.
Right.
So somewhere somebody was saying we can pick on that guy. And he spent all year saying, sure, that's fine.
Exactly.
That's fine. Oh, a pick, thank you.
Part of it, I believe Josh Jackson was only a starter last year, even though he was a junior last year. I believe he played sparingly as a wide receiver in his freshman year, and then moved into the secondary and cornerback as a sophomore. And then last year he finally moved in as a starter and showed the country what he can do.
Yeah, and then
so maybe there's a little bit of can he really perform this way in the pro game type of thing as to why he fell a little bit.
You know, there have been the last few years there have been rookies come into the cornerback position that have done pretty well.
Right.
So there's a track record. There's some kind of a history.
Yeah.
This could work. That's a great pick. That's very insightful. Well done.
There we go.
Well done.
Those are my picks. Sean, that's what I think.
Well done.
Yeah.
All right. The last thing on the list.
Yes.
The Alliance of American Football has announced how their allocations are going to work. So how they're going to decide who gets placed on which team.
Who gets first pick at the teams, the players.
Who gets first?
Are you confused?
The right of first refusal, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Before we get into this, they also announced their salary structure.
Oh, cool.
Player contracts are going to be 3-year, $250,000. Non-guaranteed.
That's a lot more than we had said originally. Didn't we go on and say it was going to be 50,000?
50,000 per year. That's what we kind of ballparked. XFL is looking to pay their players around 70. So this is an average annual rate of 83,000.
Okay.
So pretty good money.
That's better.
That's pretty good money.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say how much I would like to make that kind of money playing football. That would be fun, right?
For 10 weeks.
Yeah, that seems good, right? So that's the salary. That's how the contracts will work. But let's talk about the allocation and how that plays out.
Yes. In addition to the colleges, which are too many to name.
Yeah, we're not going to get into those.
We'll just say this. The NFL teams are going to be divided amongst the alliance teams. 4 NFL teams to each alliance team. Mm-hmm. Any player that has been rostered or any kind of contract, I guess, with any of the NFL teams that are assigned basically to the region's alliance team, those players, if they want to go to the alliance and try out, are available to that alliance team.
Yeah. So the first cut is geographical location of the college you played at.
Right.
That's the first cut. If you played at a college that's not in the alliance footprint, well, then it moves to, did you play professionally in the NFL or the CFL? And if you did, then those teams are split up amongst all the different...
That's right, the CFL. Are there only 8 CFL teams as well?
I think that's right.
Okay.
I think that's right.
Each alliance team had one CFL team, I noticed.
Yeah. If you don't have that, if you played in a college that was outside the footprint and you never were playing in a professional league, well, okay, when I say professional, I mean CFL or NFL.
Yeah.
But if you didn't, then you are a free agent, a true free agent. You can go sign with
whoever. You
can try to go catch on with whoever you want.
Yeah. Any of these teams can approach you, basically.
Yeah. But I really like this idea. Yeah. Trent Richardson. They're talking about Trent Richardson coming back to Birmingham.
Oh,
to play. Which, you know what? If he wants to, that seems like it would make a lot of sense because name recognition in Birmingham for Trent Richardson probably pretty high.
Trent Richardson's a guy that did he last play in the CFL or did he last play in the NFL?
I think he last played in the CFL, but because he went to Alabama, and Alabama is in proximity to Birmingham, that's where they get first refusal.
Okay, so the college is first.
The college is first.
Okay.
So Joey Harrington. Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
If he decides to come back and play football, Orlando would have first crack at him because Florida is close to Orlando. Sorry, University of Florida is within Orlando's footprint, so he would actually go play for the old ball coach. Yeah. I like that idea a lot because now you're honoring the fan base. They get to see players that they might recognize
and have affinity for towards.
Some of the NFL choices that they made were kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
Because
how good can you get really when you've basically got 8 teams scattered across the southern half of the United States, and most of the teams in the NFL are east of the Mississippi, I guess. It feels like it.
Yeah,
or
that's right.
There are not a lot of teams on the West Coast.
No,
but there are still 4 teams in the West in the Alliance. So
well, the one that really made me raise my eyebrows was the Baltimore. Baltimore is affiliated with, or Baltimore's castoffs go to
Phoenix.
I don't want to call them castoffs. That's the wrong word. But the people who, if you don't make it in Baltimore, then the first team in the alliance that has the first crack at you is Phoenix.
Right.
And that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense either.
Phoenix's NFL allocatees.
Sure. I like it.
Are the Cardinals, of course.
Okay.
And then the 49ers, the Bears, and the Ravens.
Yeah, none of those places are really
none of those
super
are close
near
enough. I went ahead and before they announced it, I never got a chance to give my predictions for what Polian et al. Would allocate each team to.
Yes.
But I did it, and I wrote it down. I said that for Phoenix, it would be Arizona, Denver, Detroit, and Cincinnati.
Which would, geographically...
They feel a little bit closer together.
Yeah.
They didn't feel the same way I did.
No. I wish, and I was looking around a little bit, I didn't look too hard, but I was looking around a little bit to see what rationale they tried to use. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't find any kind of thing where they said the reason we did this was because of these things.
Yeah, I mean some of them make sense because here I'll go through them. Orlando's got Miami Dolphins, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then they've got the Jets and the Giants.
Yeah,
which is strange because there are plenty of teams. There's a third team in Florida, first of all.
Yep.
But then. Yeah, you took the 2 teams from New Jersey instead. Atlanta has the Falcons, the Washington football team, the Panthers, who are close to Orlando, and who was the 4th team I thought that Orlando would get, as well as Jacksonville, who I also thought Orlando would get.
Because that would make more
because
sense.
That's the Florida team. Those are all the Florida teams.
Yeah.
The Atlanta teams were a little more tricky for me, but I still kept them closer, I thought. I went with Atlanta, Washington, Baltimore, and I gave them New England.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you have to start pulling some of those
from the Northeast
teams down to the Southeast.
Because they've got 87 teams in that group up there, right? Between Pennsylvania, New York, and
Ohio.
Massachusetts. Yeah, there's a million teams. That's how many NFL teams they got locked all up there.
Right. Birmingham gets the Patriots, the Bills, the Browns, and the Steelers.
And at that point, we're pretty spread out because Birmingham is not near any of those places.
Well, I think they are. They're only 350 miles from New Orleans, and they didn't get New Orleans. That's who I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I gave them Indy, who they're 500 miles from. That's
Okay.
right, folks. I did mileage, too. And then I gave them the Giants, and I also gave them Cleveland, which was the one that I had right for that group.
Solid.
Yeah. Memphis, another alliance organization. They get the Titans, of course, and then they're taking New Orleans, Indianapolis, and Cincinnati. So those are closer to Memphis, which makes sense. But then Birmingham has a bunch of teams that are far away, and nobody has any ties to any of those players. But I guess maybe their thought is that a lot of the players that end up in Birmingham will be collegiate guys, and their ties will come that way instead.
Well, I think you got to remember, too, that the people that they're going to get from the NFL training camps, these are guys who weren't going to make the roster in the NFL.
Yeah.
So these really aren't NFL players. At that point, from a marketing point of view, I could see you wanting to have the college guy first.
Yeah.
Because some of those guys will be big names in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And that could really help drive the team.
Exactly.
Or not drive the team, but drive
attendance.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Money.
It's all about money.
Yeah.
No one's going to watch this if they wind up bankrupt.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to see it if they're broke. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll go through it. I'll go ahead and finish up the rest of these real quick. San Antonio Alliance team gets Houston, Dallas, Kansas City, and Philly, the far one. Whatever.
That's almost fine. Makes sense. A lot of those are close.
They had to get one.
Right.
Salt Lake City. They're just Salt Lake. They're not Salt Lake City in the Alliance. It's Salt Lake. Alliance Salt Lake right now. I guess we'll see what happens when they pick the real official names for all these franchises. Seattle Seahawks, Denver Broncos, Minnesota Vikings, and Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Phoenix, we went over. San Diego, the final Alliance team. The Chargers, the Rams, the Raiders, and the Lions.
See, all those make sense except for Detroit. Why does Detroit end up in San Diego?
I gave San Diego the four California teams. I gave them the 49ers as well.
That would seem to make sense. But no. Didn't Mike Martz coach in Detroit? Wasn't he head coach there for a couple of years?
Maybe.
So maybe that's why. Maybe he's got roots in the community.
I don't know. I mean, he's a San Diego guy apparently, and that's why he's there coaching there.
He is a San Diego guy.
But,
yeah.
Anyway,
right.
That's cool. And then, of course, there's a smattering of universities that are all in the vicinity of each of these teams. I thought I was going to be a Salt Lake Alliance guy because they got Dennis Erickson, and I figured they're the closest team to us.
Yeah.
I figured they would get Oregon and then Oregon State. They did not. They got Oregon, but they split the two Oregon universities up in the Alliance. Oregon State is going to Phoenix with Baltimore, which is my other team. So I may end up being a Phoenix Alliance guy.
I will choose Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Because the Ducks and the Seahawks.
Exactly. And we'll have a nice rivalry going.
We'll have a nice rivalry going back and forth.
Yeah.
Of I'm not going to say garbage football, but this could be a lot of fun. Come next February.
Should be good.
It'll be fun. It'll be good.
Stay tuned for our next AAF segment.
That's all I've got on the agenda.
That's it.
We did talk about upcoming shows.
Yeah.
Next week we're probably going dark.
That's right. I'm going camping.
Well done, son. Well done. If I get excited, I may put something together, but I wouldn't count on it. If I do, it's going to be a Tour de France breakdown. So prepare yourselves for that.
Stage by stage, all 28 of them.
There's a warning right up front.
How many stages are there?
21.
Oh, okay.
21 stages. And actually, they're in the Alps right now.
Ooh.
It's very intense. Very intense.
Yeah.
Race favorite Chris Froome is 3 minutes back, but there is a member of his team who is ahead of him right now.
Oh, very good.
Jaron Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
like
in
him.
second place overall. So there's concern about whether Jaron Thomas will work for Chris Froome. He might not. And if he doesn't, fireworks.
Yeah.
We'll see in the Pyrenees. I'm going to have to take a look. I got to go home tonight. I got the episode DVR'd. I'm going to go back and check it out. So it's going to be fantastic.
Join JB next week for the episode of The Broken Wheel.
The punctured tire.
Yes.
The Blitz. You do that. You just
The Blitz.
Hot damn.
The Blitz. I am ready.
This is a good one. You're going to like this one. Which player gained fame for running the wrong way after picking up a fumble in the Rose Bowl? Leon Lett, Dickie Magle, Jim Marshall, Roy Riegels, Garo Yepremian.
Oh my God! So you said gained fame, but I haven't. I mean, I think
Gained fame.
I've heard of Leon Lett,
He was fantastic.
but I think I've heard of him
Leon
as
Lett.
an NFL player.
Leon Lett has my favorite play of all time. Thanksgiving Day,
When
he jumps on the blocked field goal kick, and then loses it, and the other team got it, and it was
like it squirts out from underneath him.
It was fantastic. All he had to do was not touch it, but he touched it, and then it was able to be advanced, and it turned into a fumble instead of a dead ball, and it was very exciting. Very exciting.
I have to say, I haven't heard of any of those other four guys.
So this is which player gained fame for running the wrong way after picking up a fumble in the Rose Bowl?
I'm aware of this thing that happened, but I have no idea who
So you don't know who Dickie Magle is?
That sounds like a fake name.
Jim Marshall?
That sounds like the most pickable name.
Okay, Roy Riegels?
Also sounds like a fake name.
Garo Yepremian?
That's definitely a fake name.
Nope.
It's got to be Jim Marshall.
The answer on January 1st, 1929, the California center picked up a Georgia Tech fumble and took it 69.5 yards toward the wrong goal line until he was tackled by teammate Benny Loam. A 2-point safety on the very next play proved to be the margin of victory as Tech went on to win 8-7. The answer, Roy Riegels.
Nah.
Yes. Jim Marshall was there to kind of fool you because Jim Marshall has a famous wrong way play.
Oh, okay.
That he does. I think it's a fumble. He picks it up, he runs it the wrong way, and then throws the ball up in the air, which is awesome.
Yeah.
He goes into the end zone and throws the ball up in the air.
And then fumbles it, basically.
And then there's a player from the other team who's running down and patting him on the back, and it's horrible. It's a terrible thing. I think Yepremian...
This happened 100 years ago, is what you're telling me, basically?
90.
1920?
89.
Yeah.
1929,
Why would I have...
Yes. Well, it had...
I demand a new trivia question.
It had Leon Lett's name in it, so I thought you probably would know who that is. Okay. I would have picked Jim Marshall, so we both would have got that one wrong. All right, how about this one?
We'll do another one quick, and I'll get it right.
Which player was the last non-kicker to lead the NFL in scoring?
Oh.
All right. Paul Hornung, Tyler Eifert, Jerry Rice, Eric Decker, LaDainian Tomlinson.
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Answer is E. LaDainian Tomlinson had 186 points in 2006 while setting an NFL record with 31 touchdowns.
Wowzers. I think I remember hearing that. But this is what we needed. We needed a real trivia question.
That's much better.
Show my actual...
Much better. And it was college. It was college garbage again. I apologize for that. That's my fault.
How dare you.
Giving you a college football. What the hell?
So that's the episode. It's good to be back.
It is good to be back. And like I said, next week, another week off, another week dark, and then the long haul starts.
Right.
That's it. Until next time.
Until August.
I'm JB.
I'm TK.
Good night.
Goodbye.